New details on the natural gas explosion that killed 2 people in Coolidge last month. Federal investigators released their initial findings, and while they haven't determined the exact cause of the blast, we learned that the pipeline was originally not meant to carry natural gas. Fox 10's Jennifer Martinez has the latest.
Well, John and Christina, this is still an ongoing investigation, but as you guys mentioned, we did receive the preliminary reports tonight. Now, I did speak to a pipeline expert, and he is working on the case in Coolidge, and he can't get into specific details about what happened, but he does share about what he believes caused this. It's a 2-page preliminary report detailing what led up to this. A house destroyed, a father and his 14-year-old daughter killed, and 1 injured. Pipeline expert Don Deaver is currently working on this case. He weighs in.
What happened is the gas, because it broke into 2 pieces, and there was a 46-foot section that was thrown away some distance. So there were 2 30-inch sections, like 2 jet engines shooting gas out, going up and out at the speed of sound, 1,400 feet per second. And all of that gas was coming up and was forming a big cloud, so to speak, of natural gas that got bigger and bigger and bigger with time. And it moved. You could tell that the wind direction and stuff, it moved toward the house.
According to the National Transportation Safety Board report, Pipeline 2000, a 30-inch diameter natural gas transmission pipeline owned and operated by Kinder Morgan, ruptured. Right before the explosion, investigators say the gas pressure of the pipeline was below the maximum allowed. The pipeline was installed in 1985, previously transporting crude oil, eventually converted to natural gas nearly 20 years ago, according to NTSB. Deaver says the pipeline was likely not designed for natural gas service.
Natural gas is much more dangerous than the crude oil is. Crude oil is kind of an environmental concern, but this pipeline was not likely to be designed for this rupture, propagation, and control. And that's the reason you had this big hole. You had a big section thrown out 46 feet out.
Now, we did reach out to Kinder Morgan for a comment, but we have not heard back. Reporting live in Phoenix tonight, I'm Jennifer Martinez with Fox 10 News.
I want to get you an update on the breaking news we first brought you at 5 o'clock. We are now with Chopper 11 over what has been described as a deadly gas explosion. That's what happened near the intersection of FM 2756, County Road 568. Puts it just northwest of Farmersville. We're told that 2 people are dead. There are multiple others who are injured. No word right now what led to the explosion. Police are asking people to avoid the area as they continue their investigation.
I wouldn't be here to tell the tale. I'd be on the gurney right now.
And right off the top for you at 4 o'clock, Chopper 11 giving us a live look at what is left, look at that, of an apartment building after a fiery explosion earlier this morning. At least 3 Dallas Fire Rescue firefighters, we're told, now have life-threatening injuries, and several tenants of this South Dallas apartment complex also hospitalized.
Yeah, that explosion and fire happened at Mountain Creek Apartments in the 5800 block of Highland Hills. We do have team coverage for you this afternoon, and we want to begin things with Steve Pickett, who is at the scene. Steve, Atmos teams and DFR investigators, they remain there. What's the latest on the situation?
They still investigate. Obviously, the focus is on trying to find the cause. There's so much talk about gas. If it is indeed gas, take a look at right behind me. You can see what that detonation did to this one building. There are 10 units, Brooke, 10 separate units inside that building, ostensibly 10 to 30 people living inside that building. It all started with the concerns over the smell of natural gas here. And this is what that apparent gas leak ignition did to this unit. You can see it from above from the pictures we took earlier today. The people who live in this building impacted. At least 4 firefighters who responded to calls about the smell of gas, all now in hospitals. A late update, we are just told one of those firefighters released from the hospital. 8 people in total were in direct path of this explosion. The narrative is sounding fairly consistent. Tenants telling us there was an obvious smell of gas. Dallas Fire and Rescue were called to this scene as a result of the concern about the gas. An apartment maintenance worker, residents, and at least 4 of those firefighters were essentially caught in the midst of the explosion when something detonated that gas. Now, 3 of those firefighters are still listed to have critical injuries. 3 other individuals were told moved to Parkland Hospital by ambulance. And one woman who survived this blast says she watched a firefighter begin to enter one apartment unit when it all happened.
So she had put one of these things on her back to go and try to open the door, I guess. And by the time she did that, the whole apartment blew up. And when the apartment blew up, it blew me back up the stairs.
Whenever I saw the fire department, when I was talking to my cousin, and I was like, they about to kick the door in. And when they kicked the door in, that's when we saw the big old explosion.
Believe it or not, I smelled the gas all night long last night. I went to bed at about 9. I woke up at midnight, still smelled the gas, and I woke up again at 3 and 5. I thought it was just my upstairs neighbor firing up their unit, for the first time.
I can tell you that these fire crews still obviously working on trying to find the cause of all this, but so many more people impacted on all of this. With more on that part of the story, Nicole Nielsen, just a few yards from where I'm standing now, standing by live with more on this. Nicole?
Yeah, hey there, Steve. Just to give everyone an idea of the strength of this blast, we're about a quarter of a mile from this apartment complex, back behind those trees. But still, this residents in this nearby neighborhood say that they felt the blast here this morning, many describing it as something they've never experienced before. The sound and the feeling, much like an earthquake. Officials confirm they've received reports from residents that the smell of gas was detected at the apartment complex at some point last night. We know that at least 3 civilians were injured and taken to Parkland Hospital, but are in stable condition. Officials say they couldn't confirm the extent of how many other folks may have experienced minor injuries, but many around the area are feeling very shaken today.
We felt it pretty good. You know what I mean? It wasn't a usual hitting the pole type deal. And I'm hoping everybody's okay over there and things like that. But, I mean, we felt it.
I thought something fell down, like real hard. But it was just a explosion that shook the whole apartment. I called my mama. I'm getting up out of here because it's terrifying.
Now, by the way, that last woman, she had 2 kids with her. Now, we've seen detection dogs on scene with crews here looking for any more possible victims. Brooke?
It's just such a scary situation, and you feel for all of those people. Nicole, thank you so much for your updates on that. And stay with us here on CBS 11 News as we learn more about just exactly how this happened. We're going to bring you updates on air as well as online, cbsdfw.com.
There's a new report on the explosion that rocked downtown Durham 2 years ago. The North Carolina Utilities Commission has found that PSNC Energy appropriately responded to the incident and cooperated with the commission's pipeline safety investigation. They found the probable cause for the explosion was from a person drilling into a natural gas line while installing fiber optic cable. The person has been found at fault by 1, using the drill within the tolerance zone of the natural gas facility, and also 2, failing to immediately report the damage to the natural gas facility. You might remember that explosion killed 2 people. More than 2,500, or more than 25 others, I should say, were injured. You remember that view? One whole building just obliterated.
Wow. Begin with breaking news we are following out of Dallas. The Dallas Fire Rescue Department is working an apartment fire near Paul Quinn College. That's in southeast Dallas. Dallas police confirm there was a natural gas explosion around 10:30 this morning. You can see by the damage there that part of the building has collapsed and windows in the building next door are blown out. No injuries have been confirmed at this point, but multiple ambulances have been called to the scene.
first, new footage into our AZ Family newsroom of that powerful explosion at this Chandler strip mall that sent 4 men to the burn unit. Tonight, what detectives say caused it. That massive explosion blew the roof right off that print shop, and those victims are still in serious condition tonight.
Well, remarkably, everyone inside survived, and Carissa Planalp is live for us in Chandler, where we finally have an explanation for that blast. Carissa?
Jared and Nicole, local and federal officials have confirmed what many suspected, that this explosion was caused by a natural gas leak and some kind of heat or spark. And you can take a look at the building behind me here as we are starting to get some sprinkles here in this part of Chandler. Well, investigators, as you said, have now released dramatic video captured on a surveillance camera from the library right next door.
Nobody should ever expect to go to work and have their business blow up in the way this did.
New video shows how the force of this explosion shook walls, blew off the roof, and sent flames out the doors. Today, the Chandler Police Department issued findings from local and federal investigators saying the blast was a result of a natural gas leak set off by a spark. Southwest Gas issued a statement saying it is committed to determine the facts behind the unintentional natural gas leak, which investigators have cited as a contributing factor to this incident. The utility also said, quote, "Our collective hearts remain with those impacted."
But how did it happen? What did Southwest Gas know? Had there been previous reports of problems?
Attorney Tom Ryan represents Platinum Printing and 3 employees, Parker Mildebrandt and brothers Andrew and Dylan Ryan. All 3 are hospitalized with severe burns. The attorney says the families will take legal action against Southwest Gas as their lives are forever changed.
They're left without a job, a source of income. They've been horribly disfigured, injured, and burned. They've done a lot of damage to these little families. And beyond that, too, it's important to hold Southwest Gas accountable.
Glenn Jordan, general manager at a nearby eyeglass repair shop, is also hospitalized. His wife is now processing the latest information from investigators as she focuses on his recovery. Ryan says the same goes for his clients.
The family appreciates the outpouring of support from the community and certainly would like their continued prayers.
The attorney there for Platinum Printing says there were no volatile materials or chemicals being stored here at Platinum Printing, and he says the business didn't even use Southwest Gas service. He says he plans to look up the maintenance and repair history for Southwest Gas here in this area. Reporting live in Chandler, Carissa Planalp for Arizona's Family.